I'm Sean and I know comics.
I'm Spencer and I know crypto.
And this is Comics and Crypto, your source for everything collectible. Really excited about today's episode. We're going to talk about MCP strategy, master collector points you've accumulated over the past couple of years or months, weeks. Whenever you got started, you've been accumulating these points from VeVe to use for various things. And we're going to talk about strategizing and when to potentially use them. But first, I want to make sure we give a shout out to our sponsor, Fanable. Fanable, very excited to partner up with Fanable. Fanable is a company that allows you to trade physical collectibles in the digital age. Of course, we'll have more information about them over the coming weeks, especially when they launch their website. But until then, definitely sign up for their newsletter. They're doing exclusive giveaways, monthly, amazing giveaways. They recently gave away a Batman 423 CGC 9.6 comic graded by the man himself, Todd McFarlane. Definitely get involved for updated information on them and also exclusive giveaways. Very, very cool.
Very, very excited to be partnered with Fanable. Definitely check them out.
So excited. So recently, the Flower Bomber collectibles dropped. And it was a really fun drop. They all sold out. They're scarce collectibles. And what was interesting is that VeVe gave the option to mint using their MCP points. The most valuable, the most scarce collectible was this bronze Flower Bomber, limited to only 70 public editions. There's a total of 88 editions for the collection, but there's only 70 available to the public, and they sold out instantly. 70 people used 1 million MCP points each to get this collectible. We're excited for a lot of people. If they're happy with the purchase, that's fantastic. But we have our thoughts in terms of how to proceed moving forward using your MCP points, because we just feel like there's a lot of opportunity to use these MCP points instead of just using them for drops. There's going to be things that are going to come out in the future where you're going to be able to use your MCP points as well. It's hard to accumulate these points, and we're going to dive into that in a few minutes.
And not just use the points in terms of spending them. There might even be things where just owning a certain amount of points gives you access to something. And if you spend all your points, then you're out of luck.
And this is, again, a lot of speculation on our end, but you also need to think about value too. Right? Value is very important. If you're you're happy to own this as a collectible, that's awesome. Good for you, fantastic. But if you're looking for value, we're speaking to you directly. So this is the current floor for the bronze collectible. There are some confirmed sales for around 1,800 gems. Pretty confident a few have sold. I think somebody mentioned a few of these have sold already, so we can presume they're anywhere between 1,500 and 2,500 gems, which is a lot of money. But at the same time, when you assess the amount of points that you have to use and how long it takes to acquire them,
and how much money it costs to buy those original collectibles, to acquire those, compared to the the value that you're getting out of selling this collectible in the market potentially, the math just doesn't math to us.
Yeah, that's a big reason why we kind of stayed away from this one, is because we just wanted to make sure that whatever we jump into, it's something, one, we truly love, but at the same time something that could be worth a lot long term as well. Could this do very well in terms of value? Absolutely. We don't know. We really truly don't know. But there's question marks, and especially for comics, we have in real life value that we can reference, or even certain collectibles, character popularity. To us, it's a lot easier to assess. So we're willing to hold off for other collectibles that could potentially drop, or even other use cases for MCP. The floor right now is 2,200. But for me personally, I'm a top 400 collector, and this is a breakdown of my vault, my personal vault. I own 109 sets, 894 comics. I make 2,000 MCP points per day. And my current vault value, again, this is not mint numbers, this is just the floor, is $25,000 floor value. I've spent at least $25,000 to achieve 2,000 MCP points per day. And again, a lot of the things that I've bought, I could have got more sets to accumulate more value, but there's other collectibles that I just love and I wanted to buy. But to put it in perspective, guys, this is where it's really important to think about this. For me personally, I have 1.171 million MCP points, or Master Collector points. And it took me 3.5 years to acquire this as a top 400 collector. So if I was going to use my 1 million points for MCP, it would have took me 3.5 years to accumulate that. So the current value of the collectible that would have took me 3.5 years to accumulate would have been worth 2,000 gems. And for me personally, I think MCP points are worth way more. 1 million MCP points are worth way more than 2,000 gems. And again, I'm not saying that this collectible can't do really well long term. I just don't know. But for the immediate value, I think for me personally, I'm just willing to hold off instead of betting all of my points over the past 3.5 years. I'm still accumulating. I'm still excited about the future of what's to come. And I fully expect a lot more to come than just waitlisting for MCP points. There's going to be a lot of other use cases, I'm sure of it. Yeah, it's important to think about this stuff when you're using your MCP points, because even at 2,000 points a day, it's going to take time.
It's going to be more than a year. Yeah, 730,000 points per year. yeah, I mean, it's not even close.
And it's not like I had 109 sets from the very beginning either. I've accumulated these sets over time, and that's where I'm at right now. It is important to understand that 109 full sets and also 7 million OMI on the app, are getting me 2,000 points a day. So I didn't even mention what I've spent for OMI as well.
Me too.
I have
Yeah.
7 million. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
unfortunately, a lot of that OMI was purchased when OMI was more expensive than it is right now. So
yeah. But that's also something to think about. I mean, even a top 10 collector on the app will probably make about what 10 to 15,000 points a day, somewhere around there. I think that's a fair estimate, probably.
Yeah.
So it's easier to spend your points than it is to accumulate them, at least with the current system. That's something really important to think about. I know we get really excited about, hype. There's a lot of FOMO going around for certain collectibles, but take a step back and just assess, is this worth me spending a year, 2 years, 3 years worth of MCP points on when it's going to take me another 2 or 3 years to get them?
But look, if you're a top 10 collector and you're in a different situation and you have millions of MCP points and you feel like you're in a position to spend them, but it's still going to take, just as long for you to make them back as it is for everyone else. It's tough.
Definitely. And if somebody had 5 million points and they've already spent most of them and they make 10,000 points a day, it's still going to take quite some time to accumulate 1 million points again.
It's still a few months to get back to there. Yeah.
Yeah. 10,000 points a day. How many days would it take to get there? 100 days. Yeah. That's over 3 months.
Just over 3 months. 3 months
as a top 10 collector. So, everyone make sure to do your own research. We're not telling anybody what to do. We're just trying to help provide realizations that we've made. And we just want to make sure everyone utilizes their points properly, making sure that they understand it's hard to get these things back. Once you spend them, they're gone. Even some drops, and I'm like, I want that comic, but I'm not willing to spend 10,000 MCP points on it because I just want to make sure I squirrel them away for winter. We just don't know what's coming, guys. We don't know what's coming, and that's the biggest thing. Is I want to be ready for something that's OMG. If Pokemon ever did drop on the app, if it ever did, I would be so happy that I kept my 1,000,000 points. Yeah. Because that would be a drop that I would want to go for.
Absolutely.
Even Captain America Comics #1. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest grails left from Marvel that they haven't dropped yet. I would definitely use quite a bit of my points for that.
Yeah, I mean, but I would also, think about what the value of the collectible might be on the secondary market right after the sale happens. So if it sells out, think about what it's going to sell for afterwards, and then think about what those MCP points are worth to you. Maybe see if you can try to assign, a dollar value to them just for you personally, and then see if that comic is going to be worth 20 gems as a common, in the aftermarket. Is it worth you spending 10,000 MCP points just for that $20 that you could spend? That might not make sense to you, but if it does, great, go for it. But I think it's really important to think about these things, really critically before you make a decision and actually, start using those MCP points that you can't get back so easily.
Exactly. And that also ties into understanding the current state of the market. And again, if you're just collecting, great, and you're happy with what you got, that's fantastic. We're very happy for you. But, if you're in it for the collectability and also the investment, it's important to think about this stuff. Even collectability, because there could be things that you want later on. You're like, oh man, I can't believe I sold my MCP points for that. It's important to understand the state of the market, because even for Wolverine that dropped, right? Wolverine, that was a 60 gem collectible at retail, and I didn't use any points on it. I know people who spent a lot of points on that collectible, but currently you can buy that thing for, I think, around 80 to 100 gems. Don't quote me on the numbers. They probably have changed since then, but it's slightly above retail. And that's understanding the market and where the current market is at. And we know that things retract after more collectibles come because it's just not there yet.
We're also not in a bull market right now. We're still very much in kind of a sideways market coming out of the bear. So it's we don't have the crazy hype like we do normally in a bull market where everything's going to sell out, or even if not everything sells out, the really significant collectibles are going to go for a crazy amount over retail in the secondary market. We're just not in that space in the market right now. But you have to recognize that that's not where we're at right now, and you kind of got to make your decisions accordingly.
Rootless Girl, big shout out to VeVe Fox. She mentioned that there's, I think, around 14,000 active wallets. 14,000, which is a solid number. But once it hits 100,000, 200,000 active wallets, which I still believe that VeVe can do that.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I mean, they are just crushing it in terms of the quality of the product and the things that they're releasing. They're still selling out collectibles. When other companies are failing, they're thriving and they're still crushing it, and they're still bringing in new partnerships. And there's still a lot they probably haven't announced yet, things that they're excited they haven't announced yet. And I really hope that this video gives everybody a strong perspective and the situation and how to assess MCP points moving forward, because we just don't know what's coming. It's fun to speculate on things, but we do know that things are going to be coming. Other announcements are going to be made, and you just don't want to look back and say, "Oh man, I can't believe I used all my MCP points on something that, when I could have used it for this." Just make sure to make the best decision for your collection at the end of the day. Well, thank you everybody for joining. This has been a lot of fun. If you have any questions at all about using your MCP points, hit us up. We're down to talk about it anytime. Now, I hope this video helps everybody, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you, everyone. Bye.